Hello, and welcome to the Legendarium Green Team. We're a group of Legendarium fans who come together to talk about books the main pod aren't covering. I am your host, BefuddledPanda, and I am joined today by Little Red Book.
Hi, everyone.
Yettibeats.
Hey, what's up?
And Spook.
Hello.
Hey. All right, today we'll be sharing some of our anticipated SFF releases in the year 2021 and why we're looking forward to them. Please note that these release dates for these books are subject to change. Any dates we share are what were available at the time of this recording. For any sequels we talk about, we will not be spoiling the series. We'll just share some info about the first in the series if needed. Lastly, we'll be going through the books in order of projected release dates. All right, let's go. So let's start with January, which by the time this episode goes out, these books will most likely have already been released. So if you didn't know about these, well, now you do, and you can go back and look for them.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one we've got is Across the Greengrass Fields by Seanan McGuire, and it releases January 12th. It's fantasy. It's the sixth installment in the award-winning Wayward Children series. The first book of the series is Every Heart a Doorway, which some of us have already read before. The series is about Eleanor West, who has the school for wayward children, and it's a boarding school for kids who come home from portal fantasy worlds and just can't adjust to their new ordinary lives. The books alternate between present time and the backstory of one of the characters. The fifth book was Come Tumbling Down, and that was set in present time. So this new installment is going to be the backstory of one of the characters. You could probably read it as a standalone, but reading the series in publication order is a better experience, in my opinion. And I just really love the series because it's very whimsical. There's lots of different representation, and they're just fun adventures. They're also novellas, so they're quick and good palate cleansers. All right. So then next...
Can I add something real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I've only read the first one, but it is a delightful book and very dark, but in a very good way. It's a kid-friendly dark, is what I would say about it.
I would agree.
I love them for being novellas. I feel like this was not maybe the first one, but kind of one of the ones that set it in motion that they're so popular now. The Tor.com novellas. I mean, this was such a big hit that, I mean, now we have novellas for books that would never get made now. I mean, into longer books, but now they're being published. These weird kind of offbeat ideas are now just, I don't know, in our world. And I'm kind of grateful for this series for it.
Yeah, I agree. Tor does a really good job. I haven't read a Tor novella that I was disappointed by, and I've read several. So.
And I am also looking forward to reading the first book in the series this year for our bingo. And so it definitely is great that she's adding more books that I have to look forward to after reading the initial series.
The author did say that she will continue to write in this series as long as people will read them and want them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of material there. So.
For sure.
All right. Who's next?
It's me. And I'm going to do horrible mispronunciations, and you are all going to laugh at me, and I'm very sorry to the author. So I'm speaking for Airdanus right now, and he's really looking forward to Remote Control by Indy Orakafor. Oh, dear. Corafor. Oh,
it's dear. Okay. It is hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with it, let's face it. An alien artifact turns a young girl into Death's adopted daughter in Remote Control, a thrilling sci-fi tale of community and female empowerment. And so Airdanus is a big fan of this author because she's a Nigerian American, and she uses a lot of African mythology in her work, and he just loves her sci-fi and how she blends the mythology into the sci-fi. And apparently she's been praised by Gene Wolfe. Huge thing for some people.
Right on.
So
Airdanus loves it. then I'm in.
I mean, I'm always willing to give it a try.
Yeah,
you
that
like
sounds
the-
interesting.
But I've been burned before, not by Eridandus, but by.
I especially enjoy African mythology or just mythology in general. So it's interesting that she's bringing that into her own series.
I've read the first 2 books in her other series called Binti. So those
Yeah.
are also novellas, and they definitely are not the like more common kind of sci-fi tropes. There's some really interesting elements that I won't spoil, but highly recommend.
Did you like them, Panda?
I did. I would say like I like the first book more than I like the second one, and I haven't read the third in that series yet.
I have not
I've
read
heard
her
mixed
yet.
reviews, and yeah, I've been thinking about it. She's been on my radar for Binti. I haven't heard of this book that Era brought up, but I've heard mixed reviews, and it's like, it's on that level where it's like you have so many to read that I'll just keep her wavering there until someone keeps pushing it. But yeah.
Well, I think the nice thing is because they are novellas, they're short,
Mhm.
right? So it's not as big of a time commitment, and you could probably get through them in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think we've mentioned several times throughout our broadcasting or podcasting, I should say, is that we read a lot of really long books. And sometimes it's nice just to have something that, doesn't weigh 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all love big books, and we can't lie. I get it, but it's time.
Oh,
Other
no.
people may deny, but not us. No.
Yeah, and Remote Control comes out January 19th. Cool. Another book that comes out January 19th is The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. And this is, I think, actually, I'm not 100% sure, but this might be this author's first book. But it's actually a pen name for 2 authors, Marie Brennan and Alice Helms. And it's about Renata Verdot, who is a con artist who has come to the sparkling city of Nadezra, the city of dreams, with one goal: to trick her way into a noble house and secure her fortune and her sister's fortune. But she's drawn into no, that's not the right word. She's drawn into the aristocratic world of House, and it's a weird name, Trementis. She realizes her masquerade is just one of many surrounding her, and as corrupted magic begins to weave its way through Nadezra, the poisonous feuds of its aristocrats and the shadowy dangers of its impoverished underbelly become tangled, with Ren at their heart. And this book is getting a lot of hype, and I just want to read it because it seems like there's going to be court intrigue involved, and I really love those.
I love myself some good court intrigue, I gotta say.
The exact same. Yeah, it sounds really interesting.
Marie Brennan, what does she write? The History of Dragons? Is that the book I feel like I've heard her name before, but I've never heard of Alice. And a cool
Now
spelling
that
with her
you've
name, by the way, Panda. ALYC.
Well, yes. I think you're right. You are correct. Once you said it, I was like, yeah, her name is very familiar. And Marie Brennan is also a pseudonym. So this author's like layers deep here. And I mean, I can see why she chose a pseudonym because her name is Bryn Neuenschwander.
Okay.
That's a hard last name.
I mean,
I'm just glad I'm not the only one mispronouncing things around here.
Yeah.
So
should have
good
seen a straight
catch.
Goblin Emperor.
Good catch, Yeti.
Interesting.
All right, who's next?
I think I am, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, so I suggested it, Pawn's Gambit by Rob J. Hayes. And he's the author who did Never Die, which was kind of a pseudo self-published hit. I don't know if self-published books can be hits, but fairly popular. And it's a sequel to that. Well, it's not really a sequel. It's the follow-up to that book. Never Die was a standalone, and essentially that book was it was kind of like if a young boy needed to bring back all these famous legends back to life. They're all dead, and he brought them all back to life to help them. So it's kind of like if like Lan from Wheel of Time, Aragorn, the Bloody Nine, Loch Lamora, were all dead. They all got brought together and had to like work together in this epic quest, which was a really fun book. I mean, it's it's kind of like Todd's level 1 stuff. But,
Yeah.
So this is it's a follow-up. It's in the same world. It's a standalone. You don't have to read Never Die to read Pawn's Gambit. I honestly, his books, if you ever look at them, the covers are just like kind of gnarly. And so I didn't even read what this one's about, but it just looks like another bunch of heroes all kind of standing together, looking into the, I don't know, I want to say a bad ASS. So I don't know if we can curse on this one. I couldn't remember. So, but yeah, so this is kind of like a cool, fluffy, fun book. Not to put it down. I'm not above any fluffy books, but
that's fine.
Fluffy books are always appreciated, especially after reading 5-pound books.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, you need them. So, and it comes out January 26th. I think a lot of people in our community would like it. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, kind of a refresher after reading. For me, like reading Hob, like I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, I just need something to like I'm looking at Cradle. I'm like, I need something to turn my brain off right now. I'm dying.
Yeah.
So
I just looked up.
That's my suggestion.
I just looked up the covers, and yes, you're right. I would pick up the books if I saw these in the bookstore. And
yeah, it's like when it's like when me and my friends, when we were like 8, were pretending to be like cool heroes, and we're standing on rocks. That's what we assumed we looked like. So we were just a little idiots.
Once again, this is an audio format, guys.
it's totally fine. Listeners can go Google
I
their
know.
covers.
I'm just giving you guys bad time.
Actually, yeah, these are sick covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of like the selling points for those books. I think they look at that cover and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm in." So
never judge
especially
a book
for a
by its
self-published
cover
book,
unless the cover looks like this.
Yeah, I always do. I never saw it. I hate it. I get in trouble.
No, it's one of the things about marketing is when you see a lot of money goes into making those covers. Like there's a reason why covers. There's a lot of thought.
Yeah,
For
sure.
For some of them.
Yeah, some thought is from the more books than not.
Yeah.
Cool. Next, so we're moving into February, and there are a couple books here. So the next one, it's called A History of What Comes Next by Sylvain Nouveau, and it releases on February 2nd. It's a sci-fi thriller reminiscent of Blake Crouch and Andy Weir, blending a fast-moving, darkly satirical look at the 1940s rocketry with an exploration of the amorality of progress and the nature of violence. Okay, those were like lots of words that I'm like, I read them, but I need to reread them to like understand. Anyway, it's as we said, darkly satirical first contact thriller as seen through the eyes of the women who make progress possible and the men who are determined to stop them. And I'm excited about this book because I read The Sleeping Giants, which is the first book in the Themis Files trilogy. And I also read The Test by this author. And I just really like his take on human psychology. So I'm super stoked for this next one. And I know Eridandis was also excited and interested about this one.
Andy Weir is the author for Martian, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll talk about him later as well.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
And Blake Crouch did Dark Matter, which is kind of like a mind-bending sci-fi type of thing.
Yeah,
at least
they
for me.
made a show from that too, right?
Oh, they did. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know if it's like out.
I think it is, but that's beside the point.
But yeah, Blake Crouch is one that I've seen a lot and people talk a lot about, Dark Matter and Recursion, which was his latest one. I haven't read them yet, but I hear really great things.
Dark Matter's good. It's pretty trippy, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, cool.
I have not read any of that.
Add them to your TBR.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, it's so big. And with bingo.
It's just going to get bigger. You just have to accept it.
And I'm doing the Uplift Saga, and it's...
I'm reading Worm, so it's fine. We're all reading a lot. But
I want to talk about it intelligently. Oh, jeez.
talk about it in 2025. No worries.
There you
Oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll do that.
Okay. And then
Ooh.
next.
This one is me. So the next book is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This book is an anticipated release by our resident Australian, Maria. Court of Silver Flames is an upcoming romance fantasy book that is a spin-off of the original series called A Court of Thorns and Roses. To preface just the first book, for anyone who hasn't read the series, the first book of the series is a loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast. A human girl gets taken across the border of the human lands and the lands of the immortal Fae after hunting one of their kind unknowingly. And she becomes involved with trying to break the curse and free something. If you want to know more about the book, you're just going to have to read it and find out. Now, this upcoming book follows the story of two side characters from the original series who ended the previous series with a large amount of implied tension between them. Both are very fiery characters, and with Sarah J. Maas's writing, romance is obviously expected. But the interesting part will be how they get there. The book promises to be a great continuation from a different perspective of the world that was developed in the first 3.5 books of the series. We can expect this book to release February 16th. And if fantasy and delicious romance are your thing, I definitely recommend checking them out.
You or
I recommend it too. I know Marlia recommends it, but I also recommend it.
well, I like fantasy romance, so here,
Yeah.
give it a try.
Me too.
Same. I haven't read any of Sarah J. Maas's books. Like the Throne of Glass series just isn't as appealing to me. A Court of Thorns and Roses are more interesting since at least the first two, I think, are some sort of retelling. And then her latest was House of Earth and Blood, which is like 800 pages
That's nothing.
of fantasy romance. So
I don't know. That sounds a little long for a
A novella?
Long night.
again, it's a novella of 800 pages. Yeah, no.
Brandon
but
Sanderson
I mean,
novella there.
I am intrigued. So,
Yeah.
All right. That was it for February. So we're now moving into March, and I think Little Red, you've got one.
I do. It's called A Desolation Called Peace by, here we go again, guys, Arcady Martin.
Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
Oh, hold on. I think we should say we probably shouldn't read this synopsis since it's a sequel.
Oh, guys, this is all I have prepared for it.
Spoiler alert.
It's okay. It's okay. We can improvise here, right?
So here's what we're going to say. Lady Sweden and Drew from Inking Out Loud are very excited about this book.
Okay.
I read the first book, and we did an episode called A Memory Called Empire, and it was a good book, and it won a bunch of awards, and we did an episode on it, and a lot of people really liked it, and I thought it was a fine book. It was fine. But a lot of people are really looking forward to this, so that's what I have to say about it.
I am looking forward to it. Like, I didn't love the first book. Like, part of it was just because the hype was so much. I had way too high of expectations. But
yes,
I did like her writing style, and also the Texcalani Empire culture was very interesting with the use of poetry. So I'm intrigued to continue. Like, I enjoyed the first book enough to continue with the sequel.
I may read it.
You've got a lot on your plate. I understand.
Well, it's not even that. It was fine. It was a fine book.
Yeah. And it comes out March 2nd.
Yeah.
Cool.
Drew was just talking about it on Discord. He said some comment about it. I was trying to bring it up, but I failed. I could not find it.
Yeah.
I can find it.
I know a lot of people loved it. Yeah.
He said that
something about its prose.
Drew is lucky in that he got to read an arc of it.
Yeah.
And some of us are a bit jealous. But he did say that he's really enjoying it. Like in general comments, he's really enjoying the book.
But he also says that the poetic style peaked in the first book.
That's it.
The other thing you said. Or
Okay.
craft.
Got it.
So
There you have it.
Cool. All right, next.
So the next book is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. It is the first book in her new series. She is known for her other series, The Madoran Chronicles. The Prison Healer follows a 17-year-old, Kiva Meridin, as she works as a prison healer in Zalandov, the notorious death prison. Kiva is tasked to keep the terminally ill rebel queen alive long enough for her to undergo the trial by ordeal. Read how Kiva takes on the deadly trial by ordeal herself in the queen's stead, for both her and the queen's freedom. The Prison Healer is expected to release April 13th, with the next book in this series expected to release later in the year. I have not personally read any of Lynette Noni's series, but just by reading the premise alone, I am honestly interested in reading it myself when it comes out.
Yeah, me too. I was looking at the synopsis on our page, and I was like, oh, I'm in. Anytime someone has like a sacrifice for themselves with like, I'll step in and do this, I'm like, oh yeah, sign me up. And it's like it's like an obstacle course or something she has to do. So
nice.
Yeah, it does
Sounds
look
fun.
good.
When I was reading the description, my mind just kept shouting Maze Runner to me, at least the first Maze Runner book. And I'm like, I love the first Maze Runner book. The rest were okay, but the first one was fantastic. And so, yeah.
Is that the one with the boys? They're like dropped into
A maze.
a maze.
Maze?
And then there's like one
Run.
girl that shows up or something.
Basically,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yes, dropped into a maze. Anyway.
Nice. Okay, so that's it for March, and then moving into April, we've got one for April.
Is that me? I can't see.
I think it's
It
Little Red.
is LRB.
I think it's me.
No.
Yep.
Ooh, because it's Murderbot! So, Fugitive Telemetry, which will be the 6th book, the second novel in this series, is coming out.
It's a novella.
It's a novella?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's going to be great, guys. It's so fun.
It's gonna be great.
It's like, I just discovered this series thanks to Panda this year, and we've actually recorded episodes on it. And they're funny and dark and violent, and they're just amazing. And I'm so excited, guys. It's going to be great. This is actually one of the few books. There's only 2 books I'm really, really looking forward to, and this is one of them.
It's one of those series or books where like I just know when I read it, it's going to be good because everyone has unanimous like high praise for it.
And it's so okay. So the whole thing can be enjoyed very surface level, like action movie John Wick, but also it has some thoughts. The book has thoughts. Murderbot has thoughts. We spend a lot of time in Murderbot's head. So
I recently found this out. There is a Twitter account that just tweets quotes from Murderbot.
Oh, really?
And I think it's like,
I've been
it's
seeing
on a
that.
schedule. And I follow it and I love it. Sometimes, you just like, yes, Murderbot, I needed to hear that. Yes, humans are stupid.
Does he ever need to pause and have an emotion? Because
No, sometimes, occasionally. Cool. Yeah, I personally am so excited for Fugitive Telemetry. So,
I hope we get to do an episode on it.
oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so moving into May, we got a couple for May, and the first one is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, so the author of The Martian, and it comes out May 4th. And this one's really interesting. It's a lone astronaut must save the Earth from disaster. So obviously we're going to be back in space. But there's a twist here. Ryland Grace is the sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission. And if he fails, humanity and the Earth itself will perish. Except that he doesn't know that. Part scientific mystery, part dazzling interstellar journey, Project Hail Mary is a tale of discovery, speculation, and survival while taking us to places it never dreamed of going. I mean, I really enjoyed The Martian. So I haven't read Artemis by Andy Weir, but that one got some mixed reviews. But this one sounds really, really intriguing. So, yeah.
Did anyone else read The Martian or just you, Panda? I read it.
I have
I
also
did
read
not.
that.
Yeah.
Great book.
I liked it. I thought it was one of the few where I thought the movie was better, or I liked the movie better. But yeah, The Martian, I didn't not like it, but every time they asked, when we had those questions where it's like, what movie's better than the book? I'm like, The Martian. And I think I brought it up once and like, what? I'm like, sorry, I'll back away.
Yeah.
No, don't back away.
No, yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah.
I actually feel that
agree.
I feel that way about Hunt for Red October and Jurassic Park. Honestly, I like them both better as movies.
I think it's a great example for Jurassic Park, it being the movie being better than the book, because not many people know that there's a book itself.
Right.
So Michael Crichton, we're getting off topic, but he kind of gets bogged down in like way more detail. Of course, I mean, I was reading it in the 8th grade, so probably I should revisit it. I don't know.
They're still good.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if we're still on Michael Crichton, or however you say his name, The Lost World, that book's fantastic. The movie is it is what it is, but the book is great. Yes.
Yeah. I think we could have a whole episode about Crichton and also about like movies better being
Yeah.
Well, we've already
better
done
than the book.
We've done adaptations, but we could definitely do an adaptation part 2 for sure.
Yeah. But I actually agree with you, Yeti, that I think the Martian film was better than the Martian book. And mostly because there got to a point in the book where it's just like another thing happened and you're just like, come on. Whereas the film kind of kept it going, cut out some stuff. But anyway, so yeah, Project Hail Mary, May 4th. Looking forward to it. The next one in May is the 3rd installment in a series, but it's actually a really interesting series. So it's called A Master of Jinn. That's the name of the 3rd book. And it's by P. Jelly Clark. Comes out May 11th. And it's the 3rd installment in the Fatma El Shawari series. I butchered that. I am so sorry. But the first installment of this series is actually a free short story on Tor.com's website. And the blurb about that short story is Egypt, 1912. In an alternate Cairo, infused with the otherworldly, the Ministry of Alchemy, Enchantments, and Supernatural Entities investigate disturbances between the mortal and the possibly divine. What starts off as an odd suicide case for special investigator Fatma al-Shawari leads her through the city's underbelly as she encounters rampaging ghouls, saucy assassins, clockwork angels, and a plot that could unravel time itself. And the 3rd installment is a continuation of her adventures. And I'm currently reading Green Shout by P. Jelly Clark, and I'm enjoying that. So I just want to read more of his stuff. He has like very, very interesting premises for his works.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
I love the idea of a saucy assassin. For some reason, I'm thinking sassy assassins with that.
Yeah.
But I like those settings too. I wish there was more in general, just Middle Eastern or even Arabian settings, with fantasy. And it's just cool to kind of broaden out somewhere like that.
Yeah, not sticking to Europe and Asia.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a mystery, right? Like a detective mystery.
Yes.
But with rules and
that's always
check that out.
Sell it.
I will definitely check that book out.
Cool.
Alrighty, so it's me again. We're going into June. This is a book I'm also really excited for. I know Panda's very excited for it. It is The Witness for the Dead by Catherine Addison. Witness for the Dead is the indirect sequel to Goblin Emperor. This book will follow a different character that was introduced in the Goblin Emperor, excuse me. I am personally excited for this book because just a few weeks ago, we recorded an episode for Goblin Emperor for the Green Team, and that episode will be releasing soon. If you want to hear our thoughts on this book, definitely check it out. The character in Witness for the Dead was one of my favorite characters in Goblin Emperor, so I am very excited for its release. We can expect this book June 22nd. And I don't know the exact date, but our episode for Goblin Emperor should be releasing in a couple weeks.
I can look up the date. It'll take me a second, though.
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of February. I think it'll actually come out right after this episode releases.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first book always was on every list for like best standalone novel and stuff like that.
Oh
And now it's getting
I'm
a
gonna lose that
sequel.
status. I'm sorry. Yeah, best
but it's
sequel
not
status.
really a
It's just
sequel.
going
You
to
said
move
it
to
was,
best first book in a series. So
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, best
new
book
list,
one.
new list.
but I mean, it's not exactly a sequel in the sense that you said it.
No.
It follows a completely different character. So
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
Yeah. Well, we also don't quite know what the premise, like the in more details of the premise of this book is.
Mhm.
So we have some guesses as to what it could be about, but obviously we're not going to spoil anything here. So go listen to the Goblin Emperor episode
And read it.
and read it. Yes.
So it's fantastic.
Cool. So that was for June. Moving into July, Little Red.
So, Chesky is really looking forward to The Last Graduate, which is the sequel to A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, who's one of his favorite authors, or an author he loves. So, a school of dark magic in which it's graduate or die. Chesky is looking forward to this book because he loves the setting. And I have not read the first one, but I actually am looking forward to maybe picking up the first book because I always thought that the real problem with Hogwarts is it was not able to keep its students alive. So this seems more realistic for a magic academy.
Okay.
It's a seriously disturbing number of children die in Hogwarts.
Right.
Spoilers, but yeah.
I picked the first book up. It was on sale on Kindle, like one of those
Nice.
daily deals. And I like, so just based on reviews of the content and what's in the book story wise, I've heard it's incredible. I heard it's really, really good. And this is the one that does have some, other stuff along with it. But just if
Mhm,
you're talking about story and things like that, I heard it's great. So I'm going to jump in. I'm not, going to be scared away from trying it.
Certainly thinking about picking it up for sure.
mhm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't do it for bingo because I'm already doing one of our other books.
Womp womp.
There is some controversy about this book, mostly because of how the author treats some of its characters. And there's been reviews. I've read some reviews. I haven't looked that deeply into it. So just so people know that there is some controversy. If you want to read it, you could use it for the controversial author square for our bingo. But yeah, otherwise I've heard it's really, really good.
So we keep referencing bingo. So for those of you who are just tuning in, so to
Mhm,
speak,
mhm.
Green Team has put together a bingo that is based on our fantasy subreddit's bingo. And you can look at it on our discussion channel. If you want
Yeah,
that.
it's posted on Twitter, it's on Reddit,
Mhm,
it's in
mhm.
Discord. If you can't find it, let us know.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And
but
I'm
we
looking
can
for
read
more.
it.
I'm looking for more buddy reads because I only have 5. So
It's your goal to get 25 buddy reads for all the 25 squares then.
that would be awesome. One of them I can't even count, by the way.
Yeah.
So
I thought everyone was just playing bingo on like Friday nights without me.
don't tell Yeti about that.
Yeah.
And that.
We just murder each other on the weekends.
In Among Us.
Yes.
In real life. In real life. There's a reason why some people don't show up in some of these episodes, but
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Dropping out.
All right, so that was for July. Moving on into August, Yeti.
All right. I think I'm up. Oh, double. I'm up double.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So this one in August, it's called The Maleficent 7 by Cameron Johnston. And I just recommended a book, duology, called The Age of Tyranny duology to Eridandus. And I think he started it. But this is a new series, the start of a new series from an author I really like, who does kind of grimdarkish, strong anti-hero, like a guy who's super powerful and an anti-hero. And this new book, what I like about it is I love books that just kind of steal straight from films. If you ever know, there's a film called The Magnificent Seven, like an old Western.
Mhm.
And it's like where one guy kind of gets his buddies together, 7 buddies to protect a small town. And that's literally what this is, the fantasy version of that. It's like I'll give a quick description, but it's this guy called Black Heron, who's the most ruthless general, that so-and-so. And listen to this team he put together to defend a town. A necromancer, a vampire lord, a demigod, an orcish war leader, a pirate queen, and a twisted alchemist. I mean, come on.
Well, that sounds fun.
Need I say more? I mean, what else?
No, I'm sold.
So he's Scottish. I like Scottish accents. I've met him once. That's a humble brag I'm throwing in there.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. So but I think this looks really cool. And I figured, throw it on there.
I know somebody else who likes Scottish accents.
Oh.
Don't know what you're talking about there, Little Red. We're gonna move on. When does this book release, Yeti?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, August 10th. So should be right up your alley, then, Panda. I didn't know that. Good.
I do too. In fairness,
yeah, me too. I'm not
who
shy
doesn't? Like
Sean Connery is. Yeah. Anyway.
So that was
I do love the Magnificent Seven, like the original movie. I know
And
there's
the
like
soundtrack.
the newer one by Tarantino.
That was It was
That was the Hateful Eight.
That was Hateful Eight. I don't know who made the new one.
somebody did a new one.
Yeah, there is a new one.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was fine.
Chris
It was
Pratt, Matt
Chris
Bomer.
Pratt.
Denzel Washington's in that
Denzel
too.
Washington. I enjoyed that, but it is very much a fluff film. Not as good as the original. Soundtrack, not even as good as the original.
Isn't it based on some famous Japanese movie?
Seven
The
Samurai.
Seven Samurai. I figured we could know that.
Thanks.
Well, I'm not wrong.
Way to out me.
Next.
Oh, what's my second? Oh, so my second one, and this is Jasna I'm speaking for, but also myself too. It's The Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie, and it comes out September 16th. This is his third book in his Age of Madness trilogy. And, I don't know what else to say. He is like a god to me, and Jasna, I think, can be more... he actually looks at him more critically, loves him too. But when I talk about him in the group, I just say he's the best and everyone is wrong for not liking him, where Jasna actually has good things to say. But, he planned this in advance. I always love authors who do that, who kind of already have their stories set when they write their trilogies. So he knows how it's going to end. We're going to find out how our characters live or die, or it's going to be unsatisfying, as is the Abercrombie way, if you've ever read any of his books. I'm curious to see if any familiar...
I was just thinking the same thing. Unfortunately, I have.
I love his books, but they're not happy endings per se.
Yeah, and it's just not satisfying. So it's not what I wanted, but it's fine. I still love it. And then I'm curious to see if any familiar faces pop up. I'm thinking of a certain someone. Jasna hopes they do not show up. I've talked to him about it. And just quickly with Abercrombie, I judge his books, his trilogies as a whole. I guess you could say that about any trilogy, but where some of them you can be like book twos, this and that. I think his work much better when you look at it as a whole, like that first Law trilogy. Like if you just looked at his first book one, you'd be like, I don't understand why he's one of the most popular people in fantasy. But when you read it all and you see kind of what he's working towards, you may still say that. But I think it, I just think they're better judged as a whole as a trilogy. So I'm excited to see how.
So what you're saying is that it should be judged as a really long book as opposed to 3 books.
It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, I was about to say,
you judge that as one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Right. Sorry, Craig will strike me down for comparing that to the Lord of the Rings, but I do think that's how that
he's coming
works.
for you. He's right behind you.
Bringing a sword. Yeah, he's bringing those swords. Yeah.
So I'm excited that Jasna I know is really psyched for that too.
Cool.
All right. So it's me again. This is a book I am very excited for. It is the tentative title is Nowhere. It is the third book in Brandon Sanderson's Skyward series. Brandon Sanderson is to me what Joe Abercrombie is to Yeti. He is my favorite author. I will read anything he puts out. I just love him. For those who haven't read the series follows a space fighter pilot. Her name is Spensa, and we get to see her go on interesting adventures, I would say. At first glance, it appears to be, your standard boy and his dragon story, but it does expand into a lot more. And yeah, I would say Skyward is probably my favorite non-Cosmere series that Sanderson has written. It could be Rhythmatist, but
Well,
we don't talk about Rhythmatist anymore.
it makes us sad.
I would love to point to the main podcast because they covered the first 2 books in the series. There is no set date for Nowhere. We know it's going to release at some point in November, but that's all we have right now. And I'm pretty sure.
Who's this Brandon Sanderson?
Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah. Come on now.
Is this self-published or?
Yeah, self-published author.
Just this little tiny author. I'm sure nobody has heard of him.
I mean, I've heard of Rob Hayes, but
he finished another, self-published series called The Wheel of Time. I don't think some people have heard of that either.
Oh, okay. Now that rings a bell.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a large group of us excited for Nowhere.
Yes,
and it is.
I am looking forward to it. I actually forgot that was going to be released this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, knowing Sanderson, it's going to get released pretty much on time.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't really set dates, but odds are it's going to be released in November because that is his favorite month to release books. So yeah.
Cool. So we're moving now into books that we're not exactly sure when in the year they're going to be released, but it's expected in 2021. So we've got, I think, Yeti, you've got one coming?
Yep. This one is from, is it Chesky or Chesky? Is there a cheat?
Chesky.
Chesky. Okay. The H is invisible but present. And it's called The Fall of Babel. I don't know if I've ever pronounced
Babel.
this. Babel. It is Babel, right?
Babel.
By Josiah Bancroft.
Josiah.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's fine. I
yeah.
mispronounce things all the time.
You get it. And it's the Senlin. It's the 4th book and the final, I think, in the Senlin series. I've read the first book halfway. I loved it. This is one of the weirdest things. I loved it. The writing's great. So the story is Senlin, this teacher, goes to this tower, which is massive and it has all these different levels, and he loses his wife. I mean, I loved it. Not because I hate my girlfriend or anything, but I just like the concept of having to find someone like that. It's just a great start to a story. But yeah, it was one of those things where I think if you read this book in this series that you shouldn't have anything else waiting for you, because I tried to rush through it and I'm like, I should just be just taking my time with this. The sentences are so nice. The way he writes it's accessible, but also, the flowery type of, you can tell that he's talented. But so yeah, this is the 4th one. I think it was originally supposed to be a trilogy and he had to push it out one more book. I know this is very popular in our fantasy. Having read, half a book, I was happy. I was pushing it on Craig, I think, once. I'm like, you guys should read this. And I think he even said, you like it? I'm like, well, I've read half of it. It's good. But I do think it has a lot that the Legendarium crew could talk about, on different levels. Again, from what I've read from the half of it, but I can see why it's so popular, and the covers are really cool too. Not to bring up covers on a podcast again, but they're catchy. Yeah, Chesky's right on this one. This is going to be really popular when that releases sometime.
I look forward to reading.
I'm glad you don't hate your girlfriend.
I know. Well, I don't want that to come out the wrong way. I love it because he lost his wife. Isn't that great?
And send it to her just so she knows for a fact that you don't hate her.
Yeah.
You want me to cut out that part? What? I'm just
she won't believe it. It's nothing.
Lord.
Yeah, I do look forward to starting the series when it's done. Yeah.
Right. Has anyone here read it or no?
I have not.
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it is cool.
I hear great things.
Especially from Chesky.
Yeah, well, Chesky likes all the books.
He reads so much, by the way. What a tangent.
80
He always has
books
a new
last
recommendation.
Yeah, he read 80 books last year.
It's insane.
It's crazy. Yeah.
God bless him.
And he likes them all.
Yeah.
Small percentage of books he doesn't like.
Yeah, it is. He actually has a list of books he doesn't like. That's
It
only like
baffles
9 books long.
Eridandus how much
It's like
he likes every book. I love it.
I know, right? So, the next book on our list is also being looked forward to by Chesky, but also myself, and it's The Olympian Fair. It's the second book in the Cinderspire series by Jim Butcher,
Mhm.
and I'm so excited because I never thought I was going to get a sequel to The Aeronauts Windlass, but it's coming, and it's a really fun steampunk world where ships fly using magic crystals, and there's cats, and there's humans, and there's humans with cat genes, and they all live together far above the Earth's surface. And the magic workers are all slowly going insane because that's the price of their magic. And a dark force from the surface of the Earth is trying to incite war between the different spires for its own end. And I'm just so excited because, like I said, Jim Butcher kind of quit writing for, like, what was it, 5 years? It was a while. And so I just never thought we were ever going to get a sequel. And the cats have their own political system set up, kind of not in opposition, but it's like there's 2 societies. There's the cat society, and then there's human society, and they kind of live in the same place, and they have limited interaction. But one of the main characters talks to cats. So, anyway,
Are they cat people or actual cats?
well, they're cats.
Oh,
But there's also people who've been genetically modified. It's not really clear, at least in the first book, but it's like they've been genetically modified with cat genes.
Yeah.
And they're kind of a warrior group.
Oh.
But you don't really know where they come from. Like, that's not explained, at least not in the first.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll delve more into that in the second.
Well, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't even matter if they don't, to me, honestly, because the stories are so fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of, there's pirates and there's spies and there's assassins. It's a lot of fun.
Do you
it's
know?
funny. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, it's just funny. I saw that book everywhere when it first came out, and then, like you said, I didn't even know if it'd get a sequel or if he just got bored and didn't want to write anymore in it, or what.
He went through a period of personal difficulty where he kind of quit writing for a while, and so when he started releasing, what was it? What was the Peace Talks? Was his first release after quite a period of time.
I think they talked about it in the interview that Legendarium did with him, with Butcher. Yeah. Do you know if the series, like how long the series will be now that he's back to writing?
I just know that he's planning on releasing it every other year and Dresden every other year for the next couple of years.
Oh, okay.
It will probably be shorter than Dresden because
I imagine
Dresden very long, but fantastic. Yeah.
And Codex Alaria is 5 books. I want to say
6, right?
6?
Or 5?
Okay, 5 or 6. Yeah.
You might be right. I don't know.
I mean, one of those 2. It's either
not a trilogy.
It's not a trilogy. Also good, and it's Pokemon with Roman Legionnaires.
Yeah. That's the only books of his I've read, and I really like that though. That was fun.
Oh, they're fun.
I'm not I'm a Butcher virgin. Okay, I will get there eventually.
A Brandon Sanderson virgin. A Butcher virgin.
Come on.
Technically, I've read like 40-ish pages of Elantris, so there.
Read something else that's not like one of his Cosmere books. Like,
you're a pro.
Read Skyward.
Skyward is YA, so
I gotta read Malazan.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Push it off to November before
That's another plug for another set of episodes we're doing. Anyway,
something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so that one, sometime in 2021, and then we've got another one. So Yeti, you're gonna cover another one.
Yep, this one's another one of Jasna's. He's hyped about, called Priest of Gallows by Peter McLean, and it's the 3rd book in the War of the Roses I'll say series, because I don't think it's the last book. I think it was meant to be, or people thought it would be. And then on the Twitter, the author said, you guys thought this was 3 books? And we're like, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't we? It's that's what fantasy is. And he's like, no, it's going to be more. So who knows? But I think Jasna and Red, are you going to be on a podcast for the first book?
We're
Possibly?
going to do Priest of Bones.
Yep. So they're fun.
Remember who else is going to be on that? I thought it was Panda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
The 3 of us.
It's like Peaky Blinders, if anyone's ever watched that, where it's kind of like it's not a London gang in here, but I envision a London gang, where a guy comes back from the war and his old buddies go back to their hometown, their city, and it's been they take it back from, whoever is in charge now, and they just kind of run this town like cool, Scotch drinking thieves they are, except this one has magic and wizards and stuff like that. So it's really fun. I like it. It follows the main character who's like definitely an anti-hero, who does terrible things. He's a priest, all in really name only. He murders and just does a lot of terrible stuff. Priest.
Have you read Priest of Bones?
Yep, I've read them both.
Okay.
They're really short. They're only not really short, but they're like 300 pages.
I mean, that's pretty short.
Relative.
I mean,
it's a novella. It's a poor novella.
it's a Sanderson novella, I guess.
I mean, I just read Rhythm of War like in November. That was
a month ago.
It took me a month to read that.
It's beefy, yeah.
But yeah, I like characters who kind of what they'll do for power and like the limits they'll go to, and if it corrupts them, if they realize it's corrupting them, and this is a really good book with that, with our main character Thomas Piety. So
what does this say about you?
Everything, I think.
He hates his girlfriend and he loves priests who kill people, I guess.
He doesn't hate his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right, my bad.
On record, I do not hate my girlfriend. So, it's just a good thing. I just, when characters are pushed like that, it's interesting, and especially when they don't know that they're, going too far, and it's interesting. So they're good. Yeah. They're fun. Again, all these books I except for Senlin, that would hurt my brain too much. I had to put it down, and but they're all pretty easy reads, and break up bigger series nicely. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Great. And I think or somebody edited the spreadsheet and said it's coming in May 27th, maybe.
Yeah, I added May because I saw it all on there, but then you said these were the ones that we didn't know, so I deleted it real quick when you said that. So I didn't, but you still saw it, so I was too slow.
I have no idea. It could be May. You could totally be right. I don't follow the author, but I am very much looking forward to reading the first book.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, I think we've got our last one. Spook, you want to take it away?
Best for last.
So it is, in my opinion, I think. This book probably won't even release this year, but I really wanted to talk about it just because what has been happening in this community has been very exciting for me. This last book is Doors of Stone. It is the long-lost 3rd book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, written by Patrick Rothfuss. It follows our protagonist, Kvothe, now known as Kote, as he tells his story of his life and exploits through the Chronicle. I'm very excited for this book because it has been many, many, many years since the last book released, Wise Man's Fear. And what has me really hyped is for so many years, Patrick Rothfuss has not even talked about the book. He hasn't even talked about the book series, and it's been, irking the fans, like come on. But after dealing with a lot of, personal issues or mental problems, he's finally writing again. He's finally talking about the book again. And it is just all very exciting. I don't think it will release this year. I think it could. But based off of how he has been talking about it, it probably won't release until 2022 at the earliest. I just really wanted to talk about it.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know people are really excited, but I mean,
you don't like it.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's just.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to release, like, ever.
Yeah,
I really don't.
That is fair.
I didn't like them, but that's
Yeah.
not why.
I love
not,
that.
not only do I think they're coming out this year, I want to go on record that I'm Team Denna, and anyone who says otherwise,
Oh,
I love it. That's
shots
right.
fired.
That's right. There's a lot of slander in the Rothfuss part of this community, and I about Denna.
It is very deserved.
So I want to clarify. When I say I don't like them, the writing is really, really great. He's a very good writer. I just don't like his characters, and I don't like spending time with them.
Yeah, it's fair.
That is fair. Yeah.
When
Especially Denna.
How dare you? It's funny. My brother's. I'm 32, and he's like 10 years younger than me. And I gave him. He got into fantasy, and he wanted to know what to start with. And I gave him Mistborn and The Name of the Wind. And before he finished The Name of the Wind, he had read all of Mistborn. He had been halfway into the Stormlight, and he'd read Elantris. So it's just some people just gravitate to it. Yeah, it's taste different. I don't think it. He still liked Name of the Wind, but he's just like they lean towards that type of fantasy.
And to be fair, the first third of Name of the Wind is a bit of a slog. At least for me, it took me a little bit to even start Name of the Wind. But yeah,
it's funny.
And the main character is also a horrible person that I hate.
Arguably, my main thing with The Name of the Wind, and few fantasy books do this for me. I just love that setting, even just that inn that you go to in the beginning. Even though Quoth isn't totally likable, I agree with that. I just love being around that when he's walking into inns and the music scenes when he's playing on stage. Like it just transports you to like I wish I was there. I hate my life. I wish I was there. Come on. No.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of do relate to Kavoth a little bit as a guitarist and as a vocalist.
And as an unlikable person?
Yeah, that's it. I like to envision myself up on the stage, and I'm like, oh, this would be so great. Yeah.
I don't think you're.
I enjoy the reading experience. I enjoy the reading experience of Name of the Wind, but I could not make my way through A Wise Man's Fear. I'm gonna give it another try, but it was just not the same. Like the excitement that I had reading the first book did not carry through to the second book. So I'm going to give it a try when Doors of Stone's release date is announced.
Yeah.
I will give it another try if it's actually released and I can hold the book in my hand.
I think it will. My estimation is next year. Yeti is this year. So.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
Nope. I feel like someone on Discord asked for something to be brought up, but Ian said something, but I forget now. So I'm sorry, Ian. My condolences.
I think he said something about Leviathan Wakes, but I'm not sure what that was referring to because
that is the new Expanse book.
Oh, he said
which is coming out, which I am looking forward to.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it book 9?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's something that I read really fast last winter, and then I mean, they were fun and they were good, but
they have a big fan base here. Yeah, you're right. They're fun, and and he said Winds of Winter, so we could all laugh at him at that. That'd be fun. So
yeah, that won't release this year.
Winter.
I can be hopeful about Doors of Stone, but Winds of Winter will never release. Yeah,
I will buy Ian a drink if it actually happens.
I'll start the series if Winds of Winter gets announced.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, it needs to be released. You need to wait till it's actually released.
Yeah, that's really
in your hands.
Right, like I got the book right here. Finally happened.
I have the book. Okay, now time to start at book 1.
Exactly. I stopped in the middle of book 5. I want to say in that series. I think it kind of went off the rails, to be honest. But that's just my.
So did the show.
Yeah,
I didn't watch.
And we're not going to talk about that. That concludes this episode.
Everybody.
So which releases are you looking forward to this year? Let us know which ones we missed and should know about. You can find us on the Legendarium's Discord. The invite link is on thelegendarium.com. We are also on Twitter at Green Team Pod. Shout out to Horizon Brave for starting it all. Thank you to our panelists, Spook, Yettibeats, and Little Red Book. I'm Befuddled Panda. Until next time, goodbye.
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 See ya.
Turn off the red.